Hey, what's up everyone? Josh's Custom Builds here. In today's video, we have a little bit of a longer video today. We are going to be completely disassembling and taking apart this entire Hi Capa. I'm going to go through my entire maintenance routine on this Hi Capa. It's gotten a little dirty, so I think it's time to completely take it down, clean everything and re-lubricate it. I'm also going to be installing this stock TM valve knocker in here. I currently have an LA Capa Customs one in here, but I do like the stock design a little bit better, so we're going to be throwing this in as well during the maintenance process. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so here's our Capa. Let's drop the mag and put it aside. We're not going to need that. Make sure it's clear. Alright, and we'll take our upper off of the lower. Set aside our slide release. And we will focus on the upper for now. Gonna get my little parts case here. Alright, so first let's just take everything down. Of course, these guide plugs are always lovely to get out. So we'll take out our recoil spring assembly, our outer barrel, inner barrel, and hop-up assembly. So we have that all out. And now we will remove our BBU. As you can see, it is definitely a bit dirty, as that just got all over my slide here, a little bit of that residue. So the cool thing about this slide is the Airsoft Masterpiece RIO slide. You don't need to take off the red dot or anything to remove the blowback unit. It's all just really a one-piece thing here. You just have to take out the rear screw. Take this one out, set it aside, and we will drop down our BBU. So this is just an Edge version 2 BBU with a garter nozzle and an AIP 140 spring. Alright, so we have our lower completely disassembled right now. And what I'm going to do is take this microfiber cloth and just get all the old lubricant that's in here out and all the gunk and residue. We're just going to wipe that down. As you can see how much was in there. This is the nice tornado barrel from LA Capa Customs. I have thousands of rounds through this thing, and the wear is honestly not that bad, just in normal places here, and obviously under the barrel where the slide touches it, which you could modify, but I don't always recommend doing that. I'll just slightly wipe off our hop-up, our inner barrel, and then our guide rod assembly is fine, so we'll set that aside. Alright. Let's move on to our BBU. We'll just wipe all this down. Like I said, this is just a preliminary thing. I just like to get all that gunk off of all the parts just before I start doing anything, cleaning anything. You can do this with any kind of towel or even, you know, gun patches or a silicone cloth. I just prefer these microfibers. Let's start with the blowback housing unit. I got all that old shit off of it. For the blowback housing unit and nozzles, I prefer to use some thin lubricant from Waldo Customs. Everything else, I like to use the medium lubricant from Waldo Customs. Really, really great lubricant. I can't recommend it enough. So what we're going to do here, take some drops, put it on our piston. Just a little drop on the O-ring. We'll just rub that in. And then I like to get just a little bit up top here. Maybe we'll just rub that all together. You could also use like real steel gun patches to do this, but I honestly just prefer putting lubricant on by hand than wiping the excess off. Because if you apply it with the gun patches, some of these little fibers might just get stuck in your BBU, which isn't great. Alright, now we're going to move on to our nozzle. A lot of people don't like to lubricate their nozzles a lot for whatever reason, because they think it affects their gas efficiency. No, you really want to lubricate your nozzle well with thin lubricant in the inside of the nozzle and the outside of the nozzle. If you don't, that will cause feeding issues and cycling issues with your Hi Capa. Always make sure to properly lubricate your loading nozzle to avoid those issues. You can be very generous with the amount of lubricant you put on here, especially on the outside of the nozzle. We'll just rub that in and then put a little drop on the inside and rub that in the internals. All right. So this nozzle is all lubricated up. Throw it into our BBU. It's nice. And our nozzle spring is fine. These AIP 140s last a long time. Unlike the, honestly, the Waldo 150s, and especially the Cal 180 springs will really, really get chewed up. All right, so we'll put that in here. Now on our slide, I'm going to put a little drop of lubricant there. A little more came out than I would have liked. That's fine. I'm also going to put some drops down the rails. I'll have to do this off camera. So now we will take our BBU, throw it in the slide. Here is our screw, our BBU screw. We'll put a little bit of Loctite 242 on here to make sure everything's secure. And we will just screw this back in. I'm just going to dab a little bit of this Loctite off. I put a bit too much on. We will just screw this in the back of our Hi Capa. Perfect. Just make sure the nozzle functions. And that's what you want. You don't want any resistance on your loading nozzle. It should move freely. Like I said, no resistance, nothing like that. It should be able to move freely like you saw there. That's exactly what we want. We have it all lubricated up. Now let's move on to the rest here, which is pretty fucking easy. We already wiped everything off. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a drop of Waldo's Customs medium lubricant here and here on the barrel. We're just going to wipe that all over the barrel. This is metal on metal, obviously aluminum on aluminum with these barrels. So you do want to put a generous amount of lubricant onto your outer barrel. I did wipe down the inner barrel off camera earlier just to save some time, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put just a small drop of lubricant on the hop-up bucking and just rub that in a bit. Now I can just put right there. I do also, as you can see on this Airsoft Masterpiece slide, I dremelled down the locking lugs to make the barrel a little bit smoother in this slide. So I always like to put just a drop on where I dremelled down, just to reduce that tension between the barrel and the slide with some lubricant. And we will throw it into our Hi Capa and we'll throw our guide rod back in. So that is our upper. This is very straightforward to clean and maintain. As long as you do it often, maybe every month or so, if you play a lot or shoot a lot, your Hi Capas will get dirty, parts will start to break if you don't maintain them well. I know it may seem like I'm using a decent amount of lubricant, but these are finely engineered systems here, and you really want to keep them well lubricated, especially when you're modifying a bunch of things. Like this Hi Capa is completely custom, so just keep that in mind. Make sure to lubricate things well when you're dealing with custom Hi Capas. So let's put this aside and we will move on to the lower. So now that our upper's taken care of, let's move on to this lower. This frame is a Unisoft version 2 frame. Unisoft has gotten a lot of hate recently because of their bad QC, deservingly so. But I will say their V2 frames are a lot better than their V1s. Not as much modification is needed. So I really do like this on this AmeriCapa build. It fits it very well with the two-tone. As far as I know, I think they're really one of the only companies who offer two-tone frames, which is really cool. The grip on this build is a custom one from Hi Capa. He made this for the US NSL team, and luckily enough, he was kind enough to make one for me as well. So we will just remove the grip here. Grip screws and the parts bin. Oh, and this one is a little strip. Take this grip screw out. I'm definitely going to pick up a new pair of grip screws soon. All right. Now we are going to remove the front grip screw here. And I'm definitely going to need a smaller screwdriver for that. So now we can remove the grip from our frame. So here is our Trident Sear Spring from Cal. I have the Cal module trigger, an AIP trigger bar with the JCB shim on it. As you can see in this grip, it moves very freely. So we really don't even have to lubricate the trigger here or anything with the magwell. This Cal Trident Sear Spring is actually a little bit worn down. So I actually may replace this. All right, so luckily I did have an extra Cal Trident Sear Spring lying around in the parts bin. So we are just gonna replace the old one with the new one. I think it was contacting the disconnector a little weird, and I just prefer to replace Cal Sear Springs when they go bad. So let's remove these LA Capa custom safeties here. Yeah, this frame is really dirty. The screw that LA Capa included with these safeties is really cool because it eliminates that issue a lot of Hi Capas would have with the right-sided safety getting loose or breaking off from the left-sided safety. Okay, so we can just lift these up, pull this one off to the side. Main one off, make sure our detent doesn't fly out. To the side, put our other safety to the side, and our beaver tail to the side. Now we're just going to take this Unisoft frame apart. It does originally come with a hex screw to keep the side chassis on the frame, but I just replaced it with the stock TM screw because the Unisoft hex screws strip super easily. So we are back. I was able to get that screw out. It's just a little bit stuck in the frame. So let's remove our side chassis. I do have the LA Capa Customs valve knocker and valve knocker disconnector in here, which, like I said, we are going to be replacing. Let's remove our safeties and all of our frame internals. We will get to those internals later, and just like the upper, I'm going to wipe this down with the microfiber. So let's disassemble this here. This is the LA Capa valve knocker, which, like I said, I'm going to be replacing. I just prefer the stock design better. And I do call these valve knockers, which is what they are, but a lot of companies will call them firing pins, which not really. And obviously, like always, in these Unisoft frames, this inner chassis screw loves to get stuck. There we go. All right. Just gonna wipe off the inside here. So our valve knocker disconnector, like I said, is from LA Capa Customs, which we are going to be keeping in. I do like the LA Capa valve knocker disconnectors, even though they do have to be slightly Dremel to work in a lot of aftermarket frames. Okay, it's nice. I'm just going to put a drop of lubricant in the inner chassis. Perfect. nice. Get our screw. And the Loctite 242. And we are just going to screw this down. The frame, make sure it can't get loose. Valve knocker disconnector can function. Now we are going to open our stock one from TM. Here we go. We're gonna hook the spring in. And it functions like normal. All right, so now that we got the side chassis out of the way, I wiped down our disconnector, sear, and hammer and applied a drop of Waldo Customs lubricant to it as well as into the frame. So we are going to put it back together. Just drop our disconnector in and our hammer. And then you'll throw our sear in the middle, like so. It's on well. We'll put on our side chassis and get our screw and apply some Loctite 242 to it. Just a little bit at the bottom. Put a little bit too much on as normal, so I'm just going to dab some of that off. So now with this Unisoft version 2 frame, there's a very interesting way to install the side chassis. You're going to have to put pressure on it for it to stay down properly. If not, the detent plunger can fly out. It's very weird, another one of the Unisoft weird QC things. But anyway, let's put this back in. And my thumb is applying pressure to that side chassis right there, holding it down. You can almost feel it snap into place, which is really weird. Like I said, another one of those weird little Unisoft things. All right, that's tight enough. As you can see, no gap right here, so the detent plunger will fit in properly. Let's just test our hammer functionality and our valve knocker and valve knocker disconnector, which is all functioning as expected. Nice. All right, so we are basically in the home stretch here. We're gonna take our safety, beaver tail, and other safety. Let's throw in our beaver tail safety. Almost forgot to put in our detent plunger. Throw in our rear plunger, spring, and our front plunger. Now we will get our left-sided safety. What I like to do is just grab a flathead screwdriver and push down the plunger. Click the safety in. Functions well. Now let's hold it up and install the ambi safety. That's nice. I like to put just a little bit of lubricant right here. As you can see, it's a little tight on this Unisoft frame. Loctite 242 on the safety screw. And we will just screw this down as normal. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then you should be able to move both safeties as normal. right one works and left one works. Perfect. So now all we got to do, take our grip, right onto the frame, like so. Take our grip screws, and we will just screw these in. One side. Let's get the other side. Nice. Get the hammer up. Beaver tail safety up. Let's take our new Cow Trident Sear Spring, line it up. The long arm is supposed to rest on the sear. The rightmost arm is supposed to rest on the disconnector. Press our safety in. Get our hammer strut and hammer spring assembly. Push it up. And now we will grab our mag well. Grip band, put on our mag well, like so. Now I'm just going to apply a little bit of lubricant to the rails of the frame and rub it in. A little drop here and here. Rub that in as well. And we will just wipe the excess off with a gun patch. There we go. All right, so now let's put the slide on our frame. Pop in our slide stop. That feels nice. Let's throw in some gas and test her out. Before we throw some gas in here, I'm just going to show you guys. I am rubbing this off with the silicone cloth here, just to get a nice finish on the slide. This cloth here has some silicone lubricant on it, so it gives you a nice little finish on your slide. I don't recommend doing too much, and obviously when you're done with it, just wipe it off with a microfiber. Get some on the grip everywhere. And then we can just take our normal microfiber cloth and wipe it off. Alright, so here we go. We have a fresh mag and a clear Hi Capa. Let's run a couple of dry fire test runs through here. Alright, yeah, super snappy. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you dropped a like or a sub on the channel. It would mean a ton to me. But if not, I just appreciate you watching the content on this channel. And I really hope you got something out of it or learned something from this video. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.